What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and today we need to talk about Greenidge Generation Holding stock, ticker symbol GREE, because this stock is up almost 30% on the day, and I know a lot of viewers of the channel have been wondering about this stock and have been holding this stock and have been getting killed on it. So this is actually some great news for them. So let's take a look at the chart and see what we have going on. So first of all, you can see that yesterday we were trading around lows of $23.65. Now, as of a couple of minutes ago, we were actually trading at $32.50, so a massive increase throughout the course of the night. Now, there is a very important catalyst that caused this, and it's actually not necessarily what I would call a fundamental catalyst, but it is a catalyst based off of the fundamentals of the company. And the reason that this stock is pumping up so much is because of the announcement that just came out from B. Riley Securities. They initiated coverage. This is basically a firm that analyzes stocks, right? B. Riley's securities analyst Lucas Pipes initiates coverage on Greenidge Generation Holdings with a buy rating and announces a price target of $78. So that actually looks very bullish for the stock. So basically what happened was analyst has started covering this stock, right? This is a very new stock. If you look back, this stock only began trading, let's look at the 30-day chart. This stock only began trading about 10 days ago, and 10 trading days ago, and has just been tanking ever since, right? Now, this is actually potentially the beginning of the rebound that we've been hoping for with GREE, because analysts have actually started looking at this stock and valuing it, right? They've actually had enough time to evaluate it now because this stock was so young that people hadn't really been able to look at the fundamentals of the company. And, typically it's people with a lot more access to insider information than we have, right? Typically they have all kinds of resources at their disposal that they can use to really analyze these companies in depth. And if they're giving this company a buy rating and a $78 price target, that means that they think it is severely undervalued, which makes a lot of sense, actually, if you were looking at the old chart that we have. And this chart is very confusing. It's very strange what they've done with it, right? Because this is basically the SPRT chart overlaid on the GREE chart, and they didn't adjust for how many shares were taken from SPRT holders and turned into GREE shares. So really, if we look, let's look at the 90-day to get a better picture of what actually happened with this stock. When it started trading at $91, it actually had transferred from a price of $10, around $10.98, I believe, was the price of SPRT when it started trading as GREE. Now, that actually accounts for about an 8.7% stock reverse split, right? So every share of SPRT, or every 8.7 shares of SPRT rather, turned into one share of GREE at a much higher price, but since has been tanking and tanking. And if you actually do the math, that means that SPRT would have been trading for about $3 or $4, which is very low. So around where we have this line really is where SPRT would be trading if we just continued off of this chart right here. So a very low price for this stock, much lower than it had been over the past months. And that's probably why, especially after the merger, that this stock seems to be very undervalued, at least from an analyst's perspective, right? And my suspicion is that there was probably some foul play going on with this stock. I think that, obviously there were a ton of shorts who were short this stock at the time of the merger. They likely really wanted this to go down. And it's very possible that, they were working with maybe some insiders to really push this thing down because it just worked in such a way that it was a horrific situation for anyone holding the stock, for anyone who was long the stock, and seemed to be a great situation for anyone who was short the stock. Now, that aside, I do really like what we're seeing with GREE now that we're up about 30%. And you can actually see it is on massive volume. If you look at the volume chart right here, you can see we have had fairly insubstantial volume. I mean, the volume that we're seeing today far outpaces even the volume that we saw on the day of the merger, right? The day following the merger. We were seeing volumes of around 1.2 million, 600,000, 271,000. And now we're looking at volumes of over 5 million and over 6 million in these 30-minute time frames. So it's really good what we're seeing with GREE. Even the pre-market trading was trading at volumes very similar to what we were trading at during the trading day of the merger date. So obviously there is a ton of attention in this stock. A lot of people are buying. It's very possible that shorts are actually starting to cover their positions around here because they may be worried now that there's an analyst that has looked at the company and valued it at $78 per share. It's very possible that shorts are starting to get worried and are covering. Now, we can't actually see the short data on Ortex yet. Like I said, this company is so new, and an analyst just started covering it, that Ortex still doesn't have any short interest data, at least not regarding the short interest change or short interest as a percentage of the free float. So they're still waiting on the data. They're still figuring it out. Once again, this thing just became tradable about 10 days ago, so it is going to take a while for them to do their calculations, whatever it is they do, to figure out how many shares are shorted, so it's going to take a little bit for that. But what we can see that's very bullish is Google Trends, and this is a search for GREE stock, and you can see right here that we are seeing a massive uptick in search volume for GREE, reaching basically the highest that you can on this Google scale of 100. And that just dwarfs any potential searches that we've had in the past. Any of them have been just basically blown away by what we're seeing right now. A ton of new interest is coming into GREE. And, this is really rewarding the people who were holding through with this stock. Obviously, if you sold in the first couple of days, you got out higher. But we have been trading sub $30 for the past while now, almost the past week. And, anyone who has held through that is being rewarded with a 30% gain, especially people who are loading up on GREE under 30. I would not have recommended doing that just because this company was not being very transparent. Especially, even now, it is still very new, but we still don't have short interest data on them on Ortex. Analysts weren't covering them yet. That's starting to begin now, so we're really going to have to look at what other analysts are saying about this stock. Obviously, analysts oftentimes have differing opinions on the values of stocks, and some of them think that stocks should be valued much higher. Some think stocks should be valued much lower. So this is just, B. Riley is just the first of the analysts to be covering this. So we'll really have to watch out for what other analysts are saying, because this is a new company, right? It's essentially the merger of these two companies, Support.com, which was a tech support company, and a Bitcoin mining company. So now we're really going to have to see what's going on with it fundamental-wise. I'm not qualified to actually analyze it on that level. I don't have access to the resources these analyst firms have, so we're really going to have to wait for them. Now, I also thought I would mention to you guys that if you do a search for GREE on Reddit and Wall Street Bets. This is apewisdom.io. It's a site that tracks all the stocks talked about on Reddit and Wall Street Bets. You will see that there is nothing that comes up for it, so it isn't listed here. And potentially that's because it's so new. Potentially it's also because a lot of people were hurt with the SPRT merger, and nobody's interested in posting about it here. It would not surprise me, though, now that it's up 30%, if it did arrive on the board at some point and started gaining some traction, especially if this price action continues, because there is the potential to make some money on it, right? Even though people got burned in the past, that doesn't mean that this stock is no good for making money on in the future and trading, right? If you do see some momentum, it's very possible that it will continue to shoot upwards. But also, I just wanted to point out that on Yahoo Finance, once again, this stock is so new, they don't even have anything posted about GREE on Yahoo Finance. Benzinga, however, does. They actually have the same headline that TD Ameritrade's live news had. So once again, B. Riley Securities initiates coverage on Greenidge Generation Holdings with a buy rating and announces a price target of $78, which is quite the gain. If you look at the chart, you'll see, let's go back the past 10 days. I think that's the best time frame to look at this from, because it actually starts, the day of the merger. So if we got up to $78, let's draw a line on that right now just to see what that looks like. Based off of where we were in the past. That's around right here. So it's not quite where SPRT was when we actually went through with the merger. So obviously, if you've been holding this since, and even if the thing does go up to $78, you will still have lost some money, especially considering the fact that SPRT was down massively on the day of the merger. But, you'll be much closer to being whole than where you were before. And just because the analyst says the price target is $78 does not mean that it's instantly going to $78. It was enough, it seems, to give us some very positive, very somewhat massive momentum, right? If you're looking at the volume especially. So we are up 30% just about, but that doesn't mean that we're going to just continue skyrocketing and double to $78. That is a bit far-fetched, especially in the short term. We'll have to watch it, though, because this is potentially a momentum play, right? There are a couple of ways this could go. We could begin to fade away. We could stagnate around this level, or we could continue shooting up, and we'll really have to watch. We don't have too much price action to go off. The one thing that we do have is this support level and resistance level also that I drew it a while ago, actually, at $28.80. And it actually did act somewhat as a resistance right here in the after hours once this coverage was initiated, and it acted as a support for us earlier this morning. So that's the one level that I really have drawn, but from the look of it, it looks like we're bouncing off of that and moving in an upwards direction. We're really going to have to watch out for other support and resistance levels that identify themselves and other trends that we can identify, because all of this previous data was basically just the chaos of this massive merger that went through and this massive disaster for a lot of traders. And there's not necessarily a ton that we can glean support and resistance wise, especially now that analysts have just started initiating coverage on it. We're really going to have to see how it starts trading from this point onwards. So that's what I have for you guys on SPRT and GREE. And if you are interested in liking the video, that would be much appreciated. You can also subscribe to the channel. Other than that, guys, have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.